Okay, good afternoon, folks. Marek here again. We had a little tech issue with our noon live draw, so we're doing it at 2 p.m. this afternoon. So I was working earlier today on, let's pull up my desktop here. I was working earlier today on some Freeman Colby pages, and that's what I was going to draw for you. Volume 1, Volume 2, I always keep by my desk, and this is what Volume 3 looks like at the moment. I had a letter from Sarah Lowe, written in April 1864. She's a nurse in Washington, and she goes to visit the White House. So this is what I was working on. I'm done with it by now, but I thought I'd show you what we would have drawn together. So I show her at the hospital, and she teams up with, she says, 2 nice soldiers who have been here a great while. So I showed Freeman Colby as one of those soldiers because he's in a hospital near her, actually. So he always tags along with her. And this is what I was working on earlier, drawing the White House in 1864, the presidential mansion. And she arrives and there's a crowd and she says, the getting in was dreadful. And there's these 2 soldiers waving flourishing their sabers at the crowd saying, fall back, fall back. Finally, she manages to squeeze through and she actually meets the president of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, and his wife, Mary Todd. But that's as far as I've gotten. So I thought I'd just show you that. I take a blank page, of course, and I lay it over this 12 by 12 grid. And that's how I trace out these panels. And I get these panels to be half the page tall and then 1/4 and 1/4. Well, I get those proportions by tracing off my grid here. So that's cool. That would have been fun to draw together, but I kept working on it and I'm done with it for the day. I drew my 3 Freeman Colby pages for the day. So it turns out, we'll put a little light on this page. So we'll do our weekly Friday spaceship draw because that's kind of fun to do. After a long day of drawing pages for the new book, I'll just kind of relax and draw a couple spaceships and things. So we'll start with pencil. I'm aiming to move into ink and then I will be erasing. And those are pretty much all the tools I need just to live doodle some kind of spaceship. And I'll use this on my, maybe use this in my upcoming spaceship, space adventure book I'm putting together. More about that later. Let's give ourselves a planet. So we can do sort of a curving planet horizon here, and then we'll do the spaceship over it. Maybe we'll do the planet kind of at an angle. How about sort of in the corner here? We'll just kind of my arm gives a nice curve. I always use that. If your arm working like a hinge will actually make a curved line. So we'll use that. And I'm not sure what kind of planet this is. Your planet can have mountains, you can tuck mountains on there. You could have buildings. You want to make sure the towers are sort of sticking up, coming away. They're not going to stick straight up like this, going up according to the paper. They're going to go straight out from wherever the center of this planet is. And that's what gives this planet kind of a big look to it. Now, if I put one going out like that, that could be a building. And that's going to be like, that's sort of it's perpendicular to the horizon, right? So I come over here and it's going to be perpendicular, going straight across at a 90-degree angle, the horizon. And over here, a smaller one. Maybe there's a couple smaller ones. We'll do a couple smaller ones in the distance. That's kind of cool to see those rectangular shapes on this round shape, perpendicular to the horizon. It's kind of mysterious. Like, is this a huge city that goes off into the distance? And then maybe I kind of like those mountains too. So maybe some mountains. We'll tuck the mountains behind those buildings. Maybe, how about a mountain up close too? Like a mountain here. They have to be perpendicular to the horizon too. And I'm not sure what's on the surface. So maybe we'll just do like a cartoony kind of cloud. Clouds on the surface. This is already looking kind of cool and magical. I have no idea what's on this planet. We'll just kind of find our way. I was planning to draw, 1864, the White House. So I was researching that this morning and looking up pictures of the White House in 1864 and what people looked like and what they wore to presidential receptions. But now that we're all done with that, we're freed up in a way to explore a new planet. I'm trying to, that's my approach for this fall, is to do lots and lots of different things. So we're doing, I'm doing the El Viaje book. That's going to be like comics about migrant laborers in New England. And I'm putting together a book of sci-fi space adventure. More about that later, of course. And we're doing the 1864 Civil War book, Freeman Colby, Volume 3. Just every day, something different. And if I can keep changing it up and making different things every day, that kind of keeps my imagination going, keeps me on my toes. Nothing gets old. I'm erasing these lines. I'm not going to spend too long penciling here. That's my planet. Now I was going to draw a spaceship over it. Maybe one more building here. We'll put one more building in the corner. Now, spaceship. Let's see, what could be coming in? Maybe it's something coming in here. I'm thinking it's like flying overhead. So it's going to be going sort of up and to the side here. Maybe we'll give it like a big rocket ship sort of body. So we'll make sort of a straight up and down blob. And we'll give it like a sort of a bubble on the top with some windows. There we go. We just do round porthole windows. We can put portholes all along the side. Remember, I'm a big fan of those spaceships from like the 1920s where they look like flying boats. Now I could use this. I could use this tall or I could use this wide, you know. Let's give it like some wings that kind of come out and come down. How about? Oh, how about on this side, it'll come out and come down. What if on the ends of these wings, there was, remember last week we drew a spaceship and it had sort of like grabber claws? We'll put a round joint there, put a grabber claw on there, put a round joint on here, put a grabber claw on there. Maybe it's coming down to like pick up some buildings or deliver something. Oh, maybe it's delivering something. Let's put something in here. Let's open that claw up. I don't know if it could fly with one thing in one claw. So let's open both the claws up. Now this is going up like this. It's a pretty big ship. So I'm going to do this, whatever's in this claw, going this way at a slightly different angle because it's kind of flying past us. There's sort of a vanishing point back there. I'm using sort of cartoon perspective to hint at a vanishing point. All these lines will go back to a vanishing point down there. Let's see then. We'll give it like some kind of, oh, this could be like the passenger pod. We'll put a window on the front. We'll put windows along the side. Maybe they're coming to visit, right? Put a grabber area here. Better bring this claw around and this side around. There we go. We'll lock it on there. We'll put windows along the side, maybe like a fin on the top and bottom. There we go. And then this one, let's see, it'll go around like this. It'll have the same lock on the bottom, but there's something else in this one. Maybe like a cargo one. So this will be like a big box. It'll have to be about that big. It'll hide that arm. It'll be balanced. Maybe it'll have those wings on the bottom. It's like a giant, it looks like a giant chocolate bar or something. Let's see. We'll give it sort of a ski bottom in case it has to land on the hard surface of the planet. Lines along it. Maybe 2 hatchways there. Oh, now it's starting to look like some kind of launcher. Maybe it launches little scanner probes or something. We'll bring this arm around. Let's latch these arms onto here. And we'll also give this a bigger base at the back and some engines in the back. There we go. Let's give it like a wing coming down, just like the pods, and a wing going up, but I guess it's hidden there. And we'll put a couple little bumps and knobs coming off these arms. We'll put some lines on them. Now let's see, there's going to be something else flying past here, I think. This is looking to me like it's a little too long at this point. So I'm going to adjust it. I always make a lot of adjustments with them, especially when I'm penciling some of these spaceships that are strange shapes. Oh, you know what we can do? Let's do another one of these, the same kind of ship in the distance. That'll help you see what it is, because it's a little hard to see its shape. So we'll do another one over here. Give it that same wings, the same pod on top. And give it, maybe the arms come out and they're empty in this one. And maybe we'll put some flames coming out the back, because rockets usually have rocket flames blasting out the back. Maybe we'll put it going over the horizon there. And maybe one more in the very distance. It's a strange shaped ship with those claws, like these could be coming down to pick something up. Maybe another one. Let's do another ship flying sort of in the same path. So I'm using sort of a vanishing point here. All these lines are all going to point back to someplace over the horizon there, and I'm kind of curving it. So we'll do one more ship right in here, and we can make that sort of a rocket ship like them, but it doesn't have those big claws. Well, this is a cool little fleet. Maybe this one has like some wings that sweep out, curve out like that. That might be hard to see. I better keep those pretty simple. Just kind of making it up as I go. And then, you know, the stories start to form around this strange planet full of monoliths and buildings and these ships coming in. I'll keep this pretty simple. Get that fin just so. And we put 4 fins on this one. And we'll put a round bubble at the top here. And now why don't we bring, since we have some clouds underneath the planet, we can bring some clouds up around the buildings. That kind of extends the atmosphere. Very mysterious now. Having clouds floating above the other clouds. Very cool. I like that effect. Okay, I think I'm going to start inking now. Now that my sky is full of spaceships, I could put a couple clouds up above them. I don't know if I'll do my starry sky effect or not here. I'll decide. Now they look like they're deep in the atmosphere. With their mysterious cargo. All right, so I think I've penciled enough here. I'm going to adjust these fins a little bit more. Then I will get to my inking. And for inking, you're going to need a pointy pencil and a chisel tip marker. And we'll do thick lines and thin lines with them. As I look at this from another angle, this just looks like it goes a little too far back for my eye. So I am cutting it back, trimming it back a little bit. And put some machinery on the back of that. Put a cargo doors on the sides. This is a nice break from working all morning in Civil War 1864 stuff. I can just kind of make up shapes and make up equipment and stuff. All right. Gives my visual imagination a different sense, different way to move and flex. Let's see. So this claw goes around this box shape here. Do the box shape like this. I always felt like when I was drawing strange shaped spaceships, it always kind of felt like I had to draw them a bunch of times before they sort of made sense. You got to see them from a bunch of different angles. And I drew a lot of spaceships. Now I'm working in the Civil War more, so I don't draw a lot of spaceships. I work more from archival photos and things, which is a different kind of imagining. But drawing these spaceships and making up the shapes, it's like you have to teach yourself and your readers how those shapes move in space. So you have to draw it from a bunch of different angles. And that's why comics are really cool for this, because with comics, you draw a lot of pictures in your comic. Panel after panel, you get to see these spaceships from lots of different angles. So today we're just doodling them, but if I like this idea of these spaceships flying over this mysterious city, then I can draw them again and draw them into a comic and find out what they're doing here. Whoops, I keep bumping that camera with my head. This one looks a little more simple because I just wanted to put it in that space in the sky. I can add some doodads and mechanisms and things. It's like a flying missile that you sit on up there, I think. It's a pretty fast ship. And then a couple more of these claw grabber ones. I don't know if they're coming to pick things up or drop things off. We'll find out. And that one I'm going to do with my thin lines. Kind of looks like this box is tipping and slipping out of that claw. So maybe it's a little hard to fly with this kind of stuff in those claws. Let's see. Now I'm going to add in all the little details and doodads. First, some shaping lines to help us see the shape of this thing. Put on those doors. Flying right overhead, so it's a little hard to see them. They're on the side of the thing and they're flying right over us, so we're looking up at them. Same with these little hatchways, we're looking up at them. Put these lines on here to help you see the shape. I like how these details kind of bring out the overall, the texture of the sides. There we go. I think I'll use this. I have a couple places in this. I'm doing a book of old sci-fi strips. And I have a couple places where I need just some pictures of spaceships and planets and things to fill in pages. So every now and then in the old story, I'll just take a break and these ships will fly overhead and you'll get a glimpse of other places and other things that are going on in this universe. I think that'll be kind of fun to add in. Let's see. Coming down into the second claw here. This one just has life support and windows. This is where the passengers all ride, I guess. Get a nice view out this front. Some more life support apparatus down here. Maybe a little viewing window under there. I don't know if this sky should be black with white stars or if it should be just light, like a light blue or something. I think it would look more, it always looks more striking to have it be black with white stars. That's my go-to space background for these spaceships. Let's see. Put some windows on that bubble there. Put some texture lines across here, like a little hatchway underneath. That's a pretty simple ship right there. Just wings and a rocket. There we go. Now it looks kind of messy. What's going to tie it together, I think, is this planet. And that's where we'll go back and do all those clouds and those buildings. Looks kind of messy in that it's just a bunch of rocket ships kind of flying this way and that way. Give them their trails. Fiery trails across the sky. One more in the distance here. Maybe I'll bring that cloud down. Let's see. One more claw hanging down. I don't know, I like those spaceships with their claws on them. Kind of turns them into sort of monsters, flying monsters that can pick things up and land, and gives them some more character. All right, I'm thinking maybe I'll do these clouds. I'll do them in thin lines first, keeping them pretty cartoony. I'll do them in thin lines, and then I can always thicken the lines if I decide I need them thicker, more cartoony. Put a couple clouds in here. I think what I'll do is I'll keep my options open. And what I can do is I'll go through and I'll do little stars all through here. And then I can always just erase them if I decide I don't want the stars. These clouds are pretty big in the foreground. There's some smaller clouds in the distance. Here's some smaller clouds. Trying not to intersect them with the ships. I'll leave the ships separate from the clouds. They're not touching because I don't want your eye to see them as part of the same object. And this is actually a pretty simple picture. I'm really just cartooning these ships flying through the sky. And now what's really going to give it sort of a mysterious character, I think, is these strange obelisks. And if I don't do a black sky, I might make these obelisks black, sort of like 2001 or something, like a whole planet full of them. So let's see. I'll keep my options open, like I said. I'll black it in. I'll scan it and black it in if I black it in. So I set up a piece of graph paper today with my, do I have it here? Well, I'll find it and share it. I set up a piece of graph paper and I've got pages going up one side and days going across the other. And I'm keeping track of how many pages I draw every day for Freeman Colby Volume 3. Because it's been a while. I didn't work on it as much as I wanted to this summer. I've got to get that book going. So I want to get back to work on it this fall. Try to do, a page or two a day. And I'll keep track on my little graph paper. I'll bring it to the next live draw. It's around here somewhere. Oh, I see it. Just a sec. Let me grab it. Here we go. So this is how I just started it today. So I'm keeping track of how many pages I've drawn. Let's see. I drew 6 pages last week. Today's the 11th. I've drawn 3 pages. So I'm up here. This is 6 pages right here. So I'll go up 1, 2, 3. I'll go up to there. And my goal is to keep it moving up as the days go along in September. And I'll keep moving up. And by the end, I could have 40, 50 pages drawn by the end of the month if I stick with it. And the best way to stick with it is to keep that chart right here by my desk where I can see it and look at it every day and make sure I get, move that line up a little bit every day. That's the plan, at least. I realized, you reach a point where you're like, wait a minute, this book is not going to draw itself. And you got to take time off from it every now and then because I drew my 3 pages earlier. That's what I'm doing now, Friday's spaceship live draw. I drew my 3 pages earlier. I got to the end of this page and I was like, great, okay, I'll draw my 4th page. And then I thought, I need a break. I need a break from, can't be all 1864 all the time. I got to take a break and go somewhere else. I'll go to another planet I've never been to. I'll do my Friday spaceship live draw. See what happens. And this will give me some material I can use in the new space adventure book. And then I'll go back to the Civil War refreshed. I'll probably play some old fiddle tunes later with some friends on the back deck, socially distanced. And then maybe this evening, I'll jump back on and move this line up a little bit more, Or else I'll scan this in. Probably I'll scan this in and play with black sky, black buildings, making decisions like that. If I get to the point where I'm not feeling all that creative, it's nice to have something drawn that you can scan and process. Here's a close-up mountain coming up through these clouds. Cartoony clouds, cartoony mountains. Kind of like that juxtaposition of realistic and cartoony that you get in comics when you're sort of trying to draw a longer story over many, many pages as quickly as you can. Something that readers can read and enjoy, look at in a moment and understand what it is. Okay. Wow, those clouds it's a lot of clouds. Let's see. Close-up building. I don't know if I want to shade these clouds at all. I might just put a couple more lines of detail in there and a couple more clouds in the sky. Now it starts to feel like I could go over the horizon and explore this world and find out if this is a city or some kind of other kind of construction. Maybe land with one of these spaceships or looking up, watching these spaceships land. It's kind of fun. And like I said, I might use this tall. Maybe it would work tall. Maybe they're flying under the underside of a planet. I kind of like how things in space can turn around lots of different ways. I think it's going to go wide like this, though. And then I'm going to add some stars just in case I want to use it. I can always erase them later. Erase them when I scan this in. I can digitally remove them. So I better have them there. I'm just going to add a couple stars. Now remember my trick for doing stars like this. Rather than coloring in the sky black and then coming in with white correcting fluid or paint and doing the stars, which is one way to do it. I'm actually just going to do the stars with a little black dots And then when I scan this in, I'll select the entire sky and invert it. Black dots turn white, white pixels turn black, and you'll have a night sky around these ships. Then, I might possibly come back in and make these buildings, these mysterious obelisks, kind of gray. I'm imagining maybe some cross-hatching. Just a flat gray cross-hatched look to make them look slightly textured, like they're weathered stone. I didn't put any windows in them, so they don't really look like buildings to me now. Maybe this is an exploratory mission to this mysterious place, this planet. We're not even really sure what's under those clouds. The scanners can't penetrate it. But we're going to go down and find out. Put on spacesuits from the life pod here. Whoops, I missed a couple little details there. There we go. Put on spacesuits from the life pod, go down, check it out, poke around, maybe find some mysteries. Is it abandoned? Are there still who or what still lives here? Or if it's abandoned, why was it abandoned? Maybe there was a very good reason why it was abandoned. Who knows? We only find out by drawing this stuff sometimes. Sometimes you can't plan a story like this. You just have to start drawing. I'm a big believer in figuring it out one step at a time and then backing up and doing some planning at some point. But flexible planning, let's see. Right now, I'm planning, once I'm done with this, I am planning to go back and work a little more on some of my historical comics, actually. Got a big project I'm doing about slavery in New England. Now that this part of my imagination is like off exploring some planet in some far-flung corner of the galaxy, I can come back to Earth and get back into my research, draw some more historical comics. And then when I come back to this world, who knows, maybe these ships will be up to something new, right? Kind of think these things take on life of their own if there's a story there, and your imagination will work with it. That's looking cool. So I can invert that sky, make the night sky black. If I decide I want the sky white, I'll just select all these dots, hit delete, they'll disappear. Then I might make the obelisks all black. You know what I might try? I'm going to try adding some lines to them too. I want to bring them out. They don't quite stand out enough, even with the night sky. So I'm thinking what I'll do, you know what would be cool is I'll bring some lines down from the top, kind of fading down. So it's like it gets lighter as it goes down to the clouds. Let's try that. Just light lines. And I'll do them all the same, lines running along. So they all look really uniform. Far away, close up. I like that look. See, these fine lines can look kind of gray. I learned early on when I'm printing things, if I'm printing in black and white, I never trust the grays or the colors for that matter to look exactly the way I might want them to. But black and white, oh, I know what that's going to look like. So if I can gray this using black lines on white, I know how it's going to look when it comes out on the page if this gets printed. What I'll probably do if I do the black night sky is I'll go back in and give this whole planet a little bit of a halo of white, as if there's like an atmosphere that holds some light in. Maybe the clouds should be black too. And all you'll see is the white lines of the clouds. And these mysterious obelisks. I can really play with that, I think. white lines, black clouds, mysterious obelisks coming out. It'll look like they're lit from below then. But we'll have fun with this one when we scan it in and process it. Let's put one little tiny obelisk coming up by that mountain. Maybe one under here. Sort of small ones hidden in the clouds there. Maybe one under here. Should probably go back and do that in pencil before I do too much. Huh? Now this one in the corner, see how this one we can see the roof of, and I'm thinking that roof will be black. Whatever happens with the sky. So we'll come down and do these lines here. Need something to make this front, maybe cross-hatched lines. Something to make this front nice and dark, but also sort of warm and gray. And then I'll just black in this roof when I scan it in, because I think the roofs of the tops of these are black like the night sky. Okay. Going back with lines in a different angle. That's why it's called cross-hatching. Lines in a different angle, kind of darken that face, give it a different texture. Maybe I'll do one more pass at an even different angle. Keeps it nice and even and dark. A lot of dark, a little bit of light. Not bad. Oh, I think this will actually look really striking with a black sky and stars above around those planets, around those spaceships. It's a little hard to see now, but my high contrast sense is tingling. I think that'll look cool. Giving these mountains a little bit of gray too, so they'll have the same texture as the buildings. It's like they're the same material or the same value at least. They lighten to white by the clouds. Very mysterious. It's cool. I like this routine of like doing, maybe I'll just do this all fall, like a little spaceship live draw where we just kind of make something up. Here, I'll give it a little texture because it's getting closer. Give it some patches. Lines kind of following the sides of the mountains. We could just meet up every Friday and check in on some far-flung corner of the galaxy and see what's going on there. And afterwards, I feel kind of refreshed by that. So it might be a good tradition to keep up. If you want the updates, if you're not a patron and you'd like to get updates for our live draws and things, you can head over to the Patreon. I'll put that right there, patreon.com, and you can check in there. You can actually sign up annually now, which is really cool. So that's one sign up, and then you're supporting the work, and you'll get the goodies in the mail every now and then and all that sort of stuff, and you'll get the invites to all the live draws. So that's over at patreon.com. Thank you, patrons, for making this possible. Couldn't have done this summer without you. Now, our last step here is, of course, going in with the eraser and erasing all these messy pencil lines that we laid out that we could hardly see when we drew them, but now the ink has brought out the final form of the picture. So we've got to hide those experimental pencil lines. And if we see something disappear that we wanted in the picture, I'll catch it, I'll ink it. If I want to add any more details, now's a good time to do that. It's kind of nice to just erase and go over this stuff we've gone over twice now and see it anew, see it in its final inked form for the first time. See, when we clear off all that eraser dust there, it'll be nice and clean. Oh, I like the grays. Ah, yes, I'm so glad we did that. I like the grays on the buildings because they bring it out from the clouds. we'll see what happens when the sky turns black and those night sky stars come out. We might need a few more of those. Now I have to draw next, maybe this evening, if I get back to Freeman Colby, once Sarah Lowe gets inside the White House, I'm going to invert these shapes. So she's surrounded by dark. All these coats and things will be black. And then she'll be surrounded by dark figures as she squeezes through the door. And when she gets inside, she knows Senator Hale and he knows the Lincolns. And he's going to introduce them. So she's going to get to kind of hang out in the corner and just watch all the luminaries who attend the president's reception. In April 1864, can you imagine? Speaking of strange corners of time and space, amazing corners of the galaxy to witness. So my job with that, once we're done here, once we put enough stars in the sky here, my job with that is to go see what she finds and draw it out in some way that shares her story as closely as I can to her story. Same with these. If we do a sci-fi action adventure strip, you got to sit there with your characters and really pay attention to them and follow them and tell their story true to their characters. I don't know who's flying these ships, but there are going to be a whole bunch of interesting characters landing on this strange planet once we get drawing on that. I don't think I'll go through and do many tiny stars with my fine point marker like we did last time, because I'm not even sure if I'm going to use this night sky with stars. I can always add more, but I think I'll scan it and see how it looks first. Just make sure all my lines close. All right. I'm going to call that almost done. I'll do the erasing and scanning, and I'll post it over on the Patreon later. And you can see, maybe we'll do a little live video of processing these night skies, because we have a couple pictures we have to do that with now, a couple space action adventure spaceship pictures to process. So I'll try to do one of those videos soon so you can see what that looks like, and then we'll have a finished version of this. Very exciting. One more additional extra artwork page for my book project, my spaceship-based book project. Very exciting. I'll be posting more of that over on the Patreon. I've actually started posting on it over at the Patreon. So I hope everybody has a wonderful Friday afternoon and evening. I'll be back as soon as I can to do a little more processing, live drawing. Maybe with a different project. We'll see what we have on the desk as we draw, as we work on this stuff. And thank you, patrons. Thank you, students, and everyone who's hosting comics workshops this fall. And thanks for joining us today. We'll be back and draw with you soon.